Well, welcome everybody to another episode here of How Outsourcing Works. Focus on the whole world of automating and delegating for the small to medium business community. And the whole theme of our series is when it comes to offshoring and outsourcing and virtual assistants, the small to medium business community, they know that it exists. They've heard of it. We're beyond kind of top of funnel. Some people have engaged, some haven't. They've heard different stories around it. The next question is really like, how does this actually work? Like, what can these people in different countries, actually do in my business day to day? How does it integrate with my existing people? What about competency? What about time zones? And just literally, what are they capable of doing in terms of tasks and ability? So in this series, we love to kind of dive in and get a chance to pull on some people that are, not clients of ours or people that we are working with here at Outsource Access, and just and share what their journey has been like, and really kind of get in the nitty gritty of exactly how they've used offshore staff, virtual assistants in their business kind of day to day. And so guest today, super excited to share, Mr. Jay Graves. Thank you for joining me, sir.
Glad to be here.
So Jay's been with us for several years, and he and I have known each other through as several guests as part of the Entrepreneurs Organization, EO, and he is at the helm of a mighty role, the president of the EO Nashville chapter. I got a chance to serve in that role during COVID for the Atlanta chapter.
No fun.
Special place in heaven for all of us that were presidents of organizations during COVID, but tremendous, and it's one of the largest chapters, globally. And so big feat that he's taken on top of being an entrepreneur, running a business. And so excited to hear his journey, and got a really great story, niche kind of business that he's in, and we'll kind of share his journey. And we'll go into specific case studies, examples of how he's kind of, brought some staff in and helped him redefine how he scales. But we'll kick off first, as always. At the beginning of our episode, we like to share some tips, books, tools, podcasts. If you get nothing else from our banter here, you'll walk away with a quick endorphin hit of maybe a tool or a resource or a mobile app that could be valuable for you. And so I'll share and ask the guests. So I'll share over to you, Jay, first. You got any quick tips and tools to share for anybody?
I do, and apologies to everybody. My wife, who I work with, is traveling. She's on the sales warpath today, so I'm working from home with the dogs. My tool or tip is superhuman.ai. It is an email program. Who the heck needs an email program? Everybody's got an email program. You can just pull your browser up and get to your email. It took me about 4 days to get used to Superhuman. And from that point, I went from 50,000 emails in my inbox to 0. And it's one of those kind of magic things. And it's magic. You have to put some work into it. You have to learn some keystrokes and how to punch a few buttons. But I don't forget as many things anymore, because it reminds me when I need to do this. It AI summarizes stuff. I can search through 20. Gosh, I actually was such a nerd that when Gmail introduced, remember when Gmail came out and you could get your own username? I got up at midnight and I got me, my wife, and all 3 of my kids a personalized username. The moment that came out. So my whole life is in Gmail. So, and then we use Google Workspace at work, and now I can just flip through both accounts. I can find stuff. I can organize it. I can, above all, I can either set a reminder for when I need to be looking at something, or hit the E key and it's archived. So that's my tool tip. I think it's $350 a year. It's worth every penny of it. So I just highly recommend it.
Fantastic share. And it's obviously right in line, on brand with kind of the theme of the whole world of automating and delegating, and, using VAs. And I've used some similar types of tools, actually blend it with a VA as well, to kind of navigate and manage, because the inbox is the big consumer of time, energy, and sanity. And so I've heard some great feedback about Superhuman, and glad that it's had a big impact for you. And I'll share real quick on my end. I'll share a podcast. It's been around for a while, but if you haven't heard of it, it's called the Social Media Examiner. It is a phenomenal podcast on everything social media, highly tactical content. Their website, socialmediaexaminer.com, has just a phenomenal amount of just great in-depth content on the whole social media world, and how to leverage it, how to build your following, grow it, tacticals, tips on creating content structure. But I can't say enough about it. Fantastic.
Are they the one that's got the little Safari guy with the magnifying glass?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. They've been around for a long time. That's a great website.
Yeah. It's one that's, I was kind of revisiting, and it's one that, sometimes, some of your podcasts fall off, you get others, you start listening to them, what have you. And it's one of those that I just revisited the other day. I hadn't listened to it in a long time. I mean, I forgot what a phenomenal, website that is. So you can check out Social Media Examiner. It's a great podcast. And on a tool, since you shared Superhuman, if you're exploring different email management automation tools, another great one is called Fixer, FYXER.ai. And so, different approach, than with Superhuman, kind of similar, but it will go in, integrate, will read all your email. It'll actually study exactly how you write emails, and it'll start. So every email that comes in, it detects whether or not you need a reply. It'll automatically prompt and pre-write the reply for you, and actually give you two different options. It'll actually ride on to your Zoom calls. It'll listen to your Zoom calls. Then it'll go find the email and go ahead and write the email. Because there's a lot of these great note takers out there, but this one actually integrates with your email. And so if you're not having a Zoom call, it'll listen to the whole thing. Then it'll go find our email exchange and then go ahead and create a draft and response based on the entire exchange that we had. And it'll auto categorize your emails as well. So it automatically creates categorizations based on studying your email. But it's the fact that it studies your own writing style, and then it'll kind of go in and it'll determine if an email needs a reply, and it'll pre-write it in your own language. And it gives you two different options. It'll write, okay, would you like to respond this way or that way? So anyway, the whole world of AI, I mean, goodness gracious, there's so many tools. We're going to wake up and just, not have to do anything one day. Just
yeah, I'm beginning to question that. I think we're going to end up having to wake up and do a lot. It's just going to be different. So
yeah. No, I agree with you. It's all something we're grappling with. And I know those of us with young kids as well. I mean, I've got a 5 and a 9-year-old, and what in the world are they going to need to learn, and how do they, it's going to reshape how they do things or think about things and reframe the problems that they solve. So, well, cool. Well, hopefully that was helpful. We got a quick win on some tools podcast can be helpful for you. So, so before we jump into some of the specific examples Jay will be able to share with us is give us a little background, man. Tell us your initial journey and kind of what led to the current business, and explain the current business operation you guys have, and then we'll jump into it.
So sure. I am a recovering software executive. Speaking of businesses that AI is eating right now, I sold my business 8 years ago, and about 5 years ago, my wife pulled me aside and went, "Hey, you are kind of miserable working for the company that bought you. And you're kind of miserable to be around. And you're still living on an airplane just like you always did. And why don't you come work with me?" So about 15 years ago, she started a website in Nashville, Tennessee called StyleBlueprint. And it is a lifestyle, web-only publication, email delivered daily. It started as a blog. And she does not like to be called a blogger, but it has grown from just our kitchen table to we have about 3.5 million readers per year, a little over 200,000 email addresses, hundreds of thousands of social followers, and it's been kind of a thank you.
Yeah,
it's been it's gone from just her and a business partner to we've got about 18 employees right now, based here in Nashville, Tennessee. We serve cities all around the Southeast. It's been a great journey. So 5 years ago, I left the software world, of the world of big data and analytics, and I put my small business hat back on again, just like I've done in the past. And I am technically COO, but that is COO, CFO, CTO, and a bunch of other things in regards to that. And so we sell advertisement, we sell sponsored content, and we have kind of a newly formed division to do digital marketing for small to medium-sized businesses, just the basics that they need to get done. Mm-hmm. And I'm dabbling in a little bit of hand-holding for process automation and AI, because that's the world that I came out of, and we're finding that lots of people need that. So we've been around for a long time. I believe when Liza started the site, it was called The Facebook. Now it's Meta. So the world has changed a lot, but it's definitely a niche business. We have very much of a rabid following, which we love our readers. And we work with local advertisers, we work with travel organizations, and then we work with some small businesses to help them, manage their digital presence in a way they're typically, not big enough for an agency. We're not competing with agencies, but we're helping businesses do the core of what they need to do. And it's been a great journey. Every day, as I tell people, I'm from Alabama, every day is like a box of chocolates. You just don't know what you're going to get. So, and the last 6 months have been the most rapid change we have ever seen in the 15 years of doing it. So
wow.
If we
how would you kind of categorize kind of some of the biggest elements of that you've seen?
I'll give you, we have 3 goals for the year. The first is a revenue and margin goal. That's, standard. Hey, got to keep the lights on. This is what we got to do. Our second goal is all about world-class customer service. And I'll throw in a book, if you haven't read it, called Unreasonable Hospitality.
I was wondering if you're going to say that, actually.
Yeah,
they just presented up at EMP when I was up for EO EMP program. They actually came in and presented a couple of weeks ago. So
EO Nashville's having Will Guidara come speak to us
really?
next year. It's going to be awesome. So we're, we all read that book and we just all devoured it. It was the all company read last quarter. And so we've started thinking about ways that, hey, anybody can just send a report. How do we provide hospitality for our advertisers? And then the last one, and you'll love this. The last one was my wife and I were talking and she was like, God, we got to get automation in. We got to do this. We got to make it important. And I was like, all right, here's what we're going to call it: automate or die. And it's a little, it kind of got everybody's attention when we rolled it out at the annual Rocks kickoff meeting, but it got everybody's attention. And it was very kind of on target for what the world is seeing right now, as AI and Google and other people are just changing the entire way people are consuming content. And we still have an exceptional email list, but everybody's in the publishing world right now is reeling with how do we adjust to the business. I talked to someone in the publishing world that has gone from 143 employees to 17. It's been that kind of change, and all of this has happened within 6 months. It's been a wild ride. So automate or die is kind of a serious business. And I will give a plug for your organization, which you brought me on here. I always enjoy talking to you, whether it's about automation and outsourcing or not. But I'll jump right into it. Last year, our longtime billing manager and kind of operations manager got another job opportunity and left. And I realized, you know what? We got to bite the bullet. We've talked about outsourcing. We've talked about VAs. Can we pull this off? And the first thing we did, and this was our biggest fear with it, was, can we actually describe what it is that needs to be done? And so we really, we've always been an SOP driven culture, but fortunately the person that left was awesome at documenting her job. And we had all of our SOPs in Trainual. We went back in and updated everything. And then we went to you guys and we hired Ray. And we interviewed like 8 people. And by the way, we use something called Predictive Index. A lot of people use Culture Index. There's a lot of these behavioral assessments out there. And
you were ahead of us. We just rolled it out company-wide because we've been using different tools, but we now just swapped over entirely to Predictive Index as well. So
I love me some Predictive Index. I've been using it for years. And our Predictive Index advisor was like, hey, the job that you've got listed is not really the job profile that you need. You need to expand these categories and move this around a little bit. And there were some people that you proposed to us that didn't make the first cut. And Ray was actually in the second cut after he gave us some advice on how to use this, which is also a tip or trick. If you're going to use behavioral assessments, don't just go with what's out of the box. It still needs the human touch to it. And I think Ray was the second to last person that we interviewed. And then we finished with Ray and we're like, we're done. It's her. So Ray started, I think she was, and you always tend to remember better, but I think Ray was fully functional within 2 weeks, and it dove in, and it is now, quite frankly, we just view her as a member of our team. We do a daily huddle every morning. Ray's on the daily huddle. It's just been fantastic. We added Kay, not that everybody needed to rhyme, but Kay is kind of our jack of all trades. She does email management for a lot of people, but really she does a lot of data entry, a lot of research for us. We have 8,500 active articles on the site and 12,000 historical over 15 years. Wow. From an SEO standpoint, it's kind of a nightmare if you need to go in and update and make changes to a lot of things. Kay is, our team loves her. It's like you give her a list and she goes and gets it done. She has been really great, but Ray is Ray is now doing collection calls for me, and I don't turn over collections calls very easily. Wow. So they both have been fantastic, but it's the fear that we had was one of definition. Listen, it's a different, there are different cultural backgrounds. There's English as a second language. Can we actually be a good client? That was our number one concern. Can we make this not frustrating for our VAs and not frustrating for us? And we did the prep work that I think that made it successful. And that really, and for anybody who's out there thinking about doing a VA, you got work to do before you call somebody and expect a magic solution. It's not easy. And if you have a very nebulous job description, you're not going to get great results until you go in and define what it is that needs to be done. That's my experience with this. So it's a two-way street, but Absolutely. we've had a great partnership with y'all, and it's worked out phenomenally.
Well, man, thanks for sharing. And it's and like I said at the beginning of the episode, right? I mean, for us, yes, it's kind of our industry and what we do, but the purpose is being an educator and advocate for this path. There's a bunch of great companies that that do what we do. And there's definitely some questions that you want to ask and discerning in terms of how they go about bringing people on. And, and one big element that we found is, we hire everybody as full-time people. We have a corporate entity in the Philippines. We hire them as full-time staff so that you can attract the right kind of talent who want to pursue this as a career path and kind of, see that opportunity. Because they're, some of the negative experiences people have had is just, high turnover of different companies that they've worked with, or because a lot of people are just hiring people and then just kind of throwing them, not providing that integration and support. And, then they kind of have turnover because they're just kind of looking for the next opportunity. And so it's about doing your homework. And then on your end, and I'm glad you shared it, Jay, is it does. Like, it's for some reason people, I joke around when I would speak around this, speaking, we talk about EO, I spoke for like 80 or 90 EO chapters over the years. And I would have a slide up with Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Workweek book, because a lot of people, that's their reference point. It's like, yeah, people in here read Tim Ferriss' 4-Hour Workweek. It's like, there's this magical land in the other part of the world that people just, come out of the womb, like, for, a few dollars per hour that just know how to do your work for you. And, I appreciate the advocacy kind of that was shared around it, but as a little bit of a misnomer at the end of the day, like it is a two-way street, right? You can't bring a local person in the US, much less anybody internationally, into, a chaotic situation. So it's, and the feedback we've gotten from a lot of clients is that engaging with us and using VAs and offshore, because we're fanatical about the playbooks, right? As I'm, both of your, staff have, Ray and Kay have, where we document in detail every single thing that we're doing so we can document the processes. And a lot of companies don't have any of that, done sometimes, right? And so this kind of forces a kind of process and systemization of things because of having to transfer that knowledge. And the great thing is now that you've got a playbook that got a redundancy and that knowledge kind of, baked out, but it does take, some time of unpacking. And since you came on, Jay, I've always talked about this 2-question exercise, and I'll share with everybody kind of a way to get a resource here at the end, to really unpack what are the constraint points. So tell them you had a very clear initial need, with the billing manager. But it's really these 2 buckets. It's what are you doing that isn't the best use of your time? And then how many hours per month are you spending on it? Right. And that's the second part of that question. A lot of people don't know, that doesn't take much time. I'm not going to put that on the list. I said, nope, just take a minute. And people are amazed at how many hours certain things take. And you got to give your people psychological safety to say things that they don't think is the best use of their time. And then that second bucket, or what are the things that you're not getting to, or you think that the company should be doing that they're not due to time, money, or knowledge constraints? And I tell you, those 2 simple questions, we've done it with startups. We have a $300 million pharmacy we work with that's got, 8 staff with us now. And it's amazing when you ask those questions, the amount of friction that ends up in an organization. And, we've had owners that come back and say, Jane, you've been with me for 7 years and you have 47 items on that list. Well, you never really asked me that way. So all the point being is doing the proper prep work to understand what are your constraint points and then defining exactly how you want someone to step in. And that's what we've tried to really evolve as an organization. And anybody you choose to go on this path is finding somebody that can be a partner with you in that journey to kind of get your hands on the wheel with an offshore resource, get that person's hands on the wheel with you, and kind of get things mapped and using tools like Loom, right? Like screencasting.
Well, you introduced us to Loom, and now we're Loom fanatics. So
And now with the AI changes that they've done, I mean, it's incredible. Like the AI transcriptions it'll do now.
Yeah, you were Screencastify or something. Or
Screencast-O-Matic. That was back in the day. That's how long I've been doing this. Is the tools were called Screencast-O-Matic.
Yeah, so we now do Loom from everything for delivering reports to clients to delivering sales presentations. I mean, it's a asynchronous world that we live in, and the Loom videos have just been like everything. Our salespeople fought us on it, and then they saw it work, and they were good. So these are tools that you have to do. It's automate or die. And again, it doesn't sound like fun when you say it that way, but if you don't, the world's moving so fast right now that you're not, you no longer have any sort of competitive advantage if you're not tacking into this stuff just as fast as everybody else is.
Yeah. And it's not an option, right? I mean, it's not, unfortunately, that's just the state of the world today. I mean, back, in our day, it took 5 years to go from a pager to a flip phone, right? And now, in 5 minutes, we've got transformational things, and human beings just struggling to kind of keep up with it. But I think as you're seeing as well, right, it's about the blend of the technology resource, plus the human being side of it, right? I mean, we can bring as many tech tools and stuff to the table, but as we're finding, we're in 85 different industries, and it's crazy. We found out about 150 different software platforms that we're using. It's really, empowering both the human being side plus knowing how to use the automation tools. And then it's kind of 1 + 1 = 5, right? And that's kind of where we've started, training all of our staff, and we spend $30,000 a year on LinkedIn Learning, to upskill our people on additional skills and so forth, and training. And when you can get someone, an offshore VA, like trained on the tools and the automation, then you can, get even faster and quicker in the process.
Yeah. I'm that's what we're seeing. Like it's your team's great. We use some off the shelf stuff, and then we use some really weird things that only the media and publishing industry use. And for example, we use a small ad server called BroadStreet, and Ray was
going to ask some of the tech stack. Is there's the kind of things, that's one of the things a lot of people also is, how is this going to work and integrate, with my people and with my technology? And so you kind of touched on that a little bit already, right? That, and that's what I try to explain to people. I'm like, I know it sounds crazy, but these people will become like a part of your team. I mean,
they are.
We want to know your culture. We know your core values. It becomes a part of the organization, not like this arm's length vendor situation.
Oh, but to go back, another tip for making this work is Loom. Sitting and writing out an SOP, nobody's going to do that. They may say they will, but they won't. Have them record a Loom video and embed it in your SOP system. Like that's like when we've been training our VAs and even our own internal team on how to do something, it is Loom first now. And with the AI, it'll do a transcript. It'll auto chapter it. it's pretty amazing. So that's another way to really to get a resource on board pretty quickly is just tell everybody to just record videos, and it will cut a lot of friction out of having it cut a lot of friction out of having our team help with things. So
yeah, because everybody wakes up in the morning and like wants to document processes. That's what gets everybody excited.
yeah,
right?
that's really,
That's
exactly.
But the beauty of that is like, and as I've been sharing from the beginning, back it was Screencast-O-Matic is one of the tools, and it became ScreenPal, and now Loom is actually kind of more the main standard a lot of people use, and that myself included. But it allows you to unpack. And so for those that haven't used it and explored it, right, it records your screen, your voice, and your mouse, right? And so like, imagine, you're in your CRM system or you're in your billing platform or what have you, and you want to kind of communicate. You click off a Loom and it starts recording, right? And you're explaining. And what I explain is you'll explain more with the nuances of your voice than you will if you had to go write a bunch of bullet points out for a process, right? Because as human beings, we're lazy and we'll skip steps. But, when you're going over and hovering and saying, hey, when you click in here, click on this, and, don't worry about clicking this button, do that, and so forth. You'll explain more of the nuance of your voice. And then there's lack of there's not as much gets lost in translation. And so on the other side, when the VAs are watching it, they can watch it multiple times, and then they save it and becomes a part of the playbook in terms of the process of how to execute, whether it's billing systems or whether it's, your unique, software platforms. Like we've got a bunch of home and commercial services, and there's a software platform called Field Routes that we use. And one of our staff in the Philippines actually runs all the routing for a turf care company in the United States. That's about 4,000 treatments per month. And our staff learned it in about a month, and he's running all the routing software for this, turf care, company. And
that's very cool.
By using, these screencasting tools, they can learn it, embrace it, and then get up to speed, quickly on it. But it's definitely a key element of the process. So, well, it's been fantastic. So you've been kind of hearing, initially started as initial doubt, fear, been wanting to go down this journey. And a lot of people are in that headspace, right? It's like, similar with Jag, we're top of funnel. They knew this existed, and there's a trigger point, at some point we got to step in this journey. And, the billing manager transition, led to meeting Ray and kind of being able to see what she was capable of. And then, because I tell people, I can tell you how great all this stuff is, but it's not until you get that person and you really see how competent they are, how hungry they are to learn, how much they want to integrate. And then you just start unpacking. And then you don't realize like how many other things you would like for them to do that you didn't realize until you have confidence of what they're capable of. And then, you see an opportunity to add additional, right? And so it becomes, incremental to your existing people. Like you've got 18 people there in Nashville, and the 95% of our clients, nobody's replacing anybody out of the Philippines. They're just augmenting what's existing there and helping get people to their highest and best use and to their genius zones and what they're best at. Or it's getting to those things that just weren't going to get done in the business anyway. That's right. I can't hire another $50,000 employee to do A, B, C, and D. So we just won't get it done. But this creates a incremental way as a stopgap to get things done that maybe you wouldn't have otherwise or would have sat on the shelf. But now, this is a resource that's affordable. You can plug in. Now you're able to do things you wouldn't have otherwise, maybe.
Oh, we had a joke. It was called, we need that done. We'll have the intern do that this summer. Right. The intern never did anything. The intern was not going to go through 8,000 articles and recategorize them. The intern will get to it. All of a sudden, all the intern projects are getting done. And when you're in a competitive environment right now, big things and little things matter. So we're happy to say, in fact, we're out of intern projects right now. I've got another big recategorization coming Thursday. So I'm excited to get some help on that with Kay. So it's been we had the fear. Everybody was a little nervous with this.
Sure.
But I think we celebrate birthdays with these people. Like I would love one day to have them visit us in the United States. But right now, everybody gets along. Everybody gets along great. We had a lot of, there was trepidation of the team of like, really, are they outsourcing our jobs? And that none of that happened. Like everybody was like, oh, I don't have to do this anymore. I don't have to copy the emails every morning, and I can just log in and they're prepped and ready to go. Oh, this is fantastic. So it's worked out very well for everyone involved.
And things like yourself, right? I mean, collection calls, for people that aren't paying bills and what have you, that normally would be something that would consume your time, right? And that's one of those things that you didn't have confidence in, but now, like you said, that's not something you give up lightly, but because you've built the confidence and because you've seen how well she communicates, that, hey, it's something you're now even willing to take that off of your plate. And I'm sure there's other valuable things like running the EO chapter that are
Yes,
taking your time
I
now.
can't outsource that, but one day I'm going to try. So,
but no, it's a great examples. And yeah, they become a part of the team and integrate. And that's one of the things, and I'm glad you mentioned that specifically. It's integrating with existing staff. How are they going to feel about it? And that's why it's so important to get that psychological safety if you go down this journey. And, that 2-question exercise that I talk about is letting people know that, like, look, this isn't, I value, and look, as we all know, I mean, finding a good, high-performing W-2 employee, you want to hold on to those people, right? You just want them focused on their highest and best, use in the process. And so giving them psychological safety that, like, hey, this isn't about replacing you. This is about, like, letting you get to what, you're best at and where you can add the most, value. And the right employees that have an abundance mentality, right, will get it and appreciate it. And, like, hey, let's add another, right? The wrong employees will, I've even seen people, Jay, sabotage. Like, when they've seen how good some of our staff are, they're like, ooh, this looks threatening. I don't want, they'll actually poo-poo the work sometimes. And we have to go back and find and realize that wasn't the case at all. They just felt threatened because they hadn't done a good job. The owner had not done a good job of letting these employees know that this isn't about, replacing them. But love hearing the story about them being a part of your culture. And I was interviewing one of our clients who's been with us for 5 years, and similar, like, they have a Halloween costume dress up contest. And the kids, the VA participates. She actually's won it the last 2 years, like, over all the other staff. And we got a painting company in Philadelphia that, to your point of visiting, they have 3 staff with us now. They grew from 4 to 8 million. Rika was their first staff they added with us in Philly. And she was such an impact. I mean, she first of all documented and created SOPs for their whole organization. She interviewed all their employees and drafted and created SOP playbooks. Then she learned on her own how to do Salesforce integration with all their APIs within their platform. Then she learned how to do Canva, which we train, and we have part of our training and development, and started doing all their yard signs, which creates the vast majority of all their referral business. She got voted by all 50 of their employees as the MVP employee. And she's not even in the US
that's
for
awesome.
their entire company. And they'll plan on flying her over to kind of be a part of their celebration. And as soon as they hit, I think 10 million they were looking at, they're actually going to go visit. And so we actually have a whole client tourism experience in the Philippines. So clients come over, we roll out the red carpet and take you on a whole journey. And I have to share some videos. We have an e-commerce company guy that owns a transformer e-commerce company. And so we got full-size transformers to dress up and greet him at the airport in the Philippines.
Oh, that's very cool.
I'll have to show you the video, but it's it's much more than, when you see VAs and outsourcing, people think call centers, they think, competency issues. It truly is an integrated part of the team. And in the Philippines, why I chose it, I mean, English is our second language, Americanized culture. You don't have the culture gap that you do in some other countries, which a lot of people don't realize, which makes that bridge to be a lot easier in the process. So, well, man, it's been fantastic. Thank you so much. These have been great examples of, hopefully everybody that's listening here has been able to hear through Jay's journey, exactly what can they do? How does this work? And how does it work with your team? And how does it work with integration? And what are they capable of? And, exactly as I've shared, how things get unfolded as you get more confidence, in the process. So, and if anybody wants to, learn more on the that 2-question exercise I talked about, and it's a, fantastic tool and a resource. If you just shoot an email to tools@outsourceaccess.com and put StyleBlueprint, as we know, kind of connected to this episode, we will send you a link to go do that 2-question exercise process. And so in that, we actually have an entire set of 700 tasks. We've done over $4 million worth of work, or 4 million hours worth of 45 million hours worth of work over the last several years. And in this guide here, we kind of help you watch a little video. I'd kind of take you through it. And to kind of get your brain thinking, we've taken 700 of the top tasks that we've done, across these millions of hours of work, organized by marketing, operations, customer service, sales. You can kind of go through, and it'll just kind of get your brain thinking about what these people are kind of capable of. And then we'll give you an example of a completed one that you can see here, where people have shared, what do you want to get off your plate? What do you think we should be doing? And you have your people share, and it's unbelievable, the exercise and the output. This is actually a company we did it live with, took out confidential information here, obviously, but hundreds of hours of stuff. And then we got a blank one here that you can kind of do this journey yourself, either you individually or kind of with your team. So if you shoot an email to tools@outsourceaccess.com, we'll shoot that whole resource over to you and encourage you to go down that journey. Even if you never outsource a thing, it's a great way to identify what the constraint points are and see that 700 list of items that may kind of trigger some thoughts and ideas for you in the process. So Jay, on your end, so people want to kind of sign up, and so just go to StyleBlueprint.com, right?
Yep, StyleBlueprint.com. Upper right-hand corner, there's a subscribe button. It's free. We'd love to have you as a reader. If you are a small business and you need some help with just the basics of digital marketing, you can go to lifestagemarketing.com, which is our new brand, which we're just firing up. But for most everybody here, Style Blueprint it's our baby. We love talking about positive news, Southern culture, and it's been really fascinating to see how it's impacted a lot of people's lives in a great way. So we'd love to have you.
Yeah, absolutely. And these are, being in Atlanta and myself know all those places, and 30A, I was kind of cluing down there. And so great content, and I'll pull up your Life Stage Marketing. So that's the other one. So that's awesome. And look, I mean, and I'm sure hopefully that, our staff maybe be a part of the equation. And that's the beauty of this as well, is like, once you start learning how to work with offshore and what have you, you start pursuing things you wouldn't have otherwise, right? Like even launching other businesses, like knowing now what's capable and what's possible and the cost effectiveness of it. Don't put words in your mouth, but maybe that's been a part of kind of you guys thinking of giving you the confidence of stepping into launching something new, like this, knowing that you've got potential resources that can support you in that process. So this is Life Stage Marketing right here. And same thing for me. I ended up starting this whole organization, called One-on-One Connections. That was, when I was president during that COVID time. And a couple of my VAs, we started just, hey, can we get this program to like, can I connect members and member-based organizations? And we did. And all of a sudden, 40 organizations and so forth, we've been able to help and got the thing out of the ground with a couple of VAs in just a little bit of time, and actually running for the Nashville chapter there.
Yeah, I participated in it. It's one of our best. It's one of our best programs.
I appreciate it. It's oneononeconnections.com. You can check that out if you're a member organization, want to see more of that happening in your group. So, well, thanks everybody for being here. Thanks, Jay. That was fantastic insight into this whole journey. And final, wise words to automate and or die to everyone that's listening here today. Unfortunately,
it sounds terrible, but really it's the truth. So it's welcome to 2025, everybody.
Jim Collins is one of my favorites, still timeless. And one of his concepts is, the Stockdale paradox. You got to face the brutal facts. Have full faith and confidence that you will be successful in the end. But folks, we got to face the brutal facts of where we are right now. And AI is things it's doubling every 5 months, not every 5 years. And so we got to kind of get on board. So, well, thanks everybody. Appreciate it. Visit us at outsourceaccess.com. Send an email to that tools@outsourceaccess.com and put Style Blueprint. Send that resource to you. Love to support your journey, and check out Jay and their websites, and we'll put it in the show notes as well. Thanks for being here, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.